DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Monster Energy, Esport Management, and GG Bet.
Welcome to France. Evening is upon us, and yet la nuit c'est jeune parce que we've had 5 matches, but we have 1 more remaining. And it's fair to say that this matchup is not one that was expected at the start of the day, but could the victoire of cet jeu, I'm trying, take that trophy home? Well, we'll soon find out who will be in with a shot, because whoever wins this next match will be going straight through to Sunday's playoffs, and the matchup will be between the FrenchFrogs and Avangar. And it's fair to say we were quite surprised that this matchup is happening, aren't we, Potter?
We definitely were. I mean, FrenchFrogs, they looked like they were going to lose. They were down 15-13, and they brought it back and they won in OT. So that's a positive sign for FrenchFrogs. But yeah, going into this matchup, this is going to be a whole nother ball game, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, right? We all thought it's going to be G2 versus Avangar. That should be the matchup. It should have been the matchup, but you know, you snooze, you lose. G2 did kind of snooze on Nuke over there. But for FrenchFrogs, many people might be like, oh, you know, they stand a chance. They beat G2, but let me say it right now, Avangar is a whole different beast altogether.
They definitely are. And I mean, we mentioned earlier today, though, I mean, these guys, 3 of their players were on 3D Max. They did find a lot of success with Jack and Lucky. So I'm sure they were able to incorporate the 2 new players pretty quickly. So hopefully they have some more depth on their map pool.
And of course, G2 Esports and Ghost are going to be fighting it out to stay in the competition tomorrow. And of course, we will be talking about that matchup then. But let's focus in on the day that Avangar have had, because I'm just wondering if their performance earlier was strong enough to beat the FrenchFrogs, because hey, maybe these guys can surprise them, Potter.
They definitely can. And I mean, I don't think there will be too much of a surprise. Avangar looked very solid. James, Kicker, everyone on Avangar actually stepped up. And we got to keep talking about James, because he does not miss his shots, Frankie.
He doesn't miss a beat. And someone else who doesn't is actually stood on the end. It's, of course, Blair. And he has got 3 reasons for us. Do you want to show us?
3 reasons why. I wish I knew some French just to like pander a little bit, but yeah, I'm just gonna make it simple. 3 reasons why Avangar is going to have a very comfortable time here, right? Reason number 1 is the fact that FrenchFrogs are still pretty big underdogs in this particular tournament, right? Sure, they had that big upset win. It was overtime as well against G2, who I personally felt was underperforming quite drastically. They're a new team. They are, I mean, they've been playing with each other for a while, but as a full lineup, they don't have that much of experience, so to speak, right? They're still kind of like a mixed team, so they are the underdogs here. Reason number 2 is going to be Mr. James himself. This guy has come to play. We saw him like really go off in the first game they had as well, and he's just coming here to just destroy people, right? And he looks so much more comfortable with Sanji, who might be helping with his in-game leading. We might have wanted to speak to them later on to figure that one out. But in-game leader / opera / star player, this guy is going to be a thorn in the side on the side of the FrenchFrogs. And the third point to make here would be the fact that the structure, right? If you look at Avangar, they are a structured team. They're a team who've been playing together for a while. They know what they're doing. Even if they're aggressive, it's controlled aggression. Everything's in play. Meanwhile, FrenchFrogs, if you look at that game they had against G2, it's very free-flowing. It's very kind of winging it, sort of kind of YOLO-ish style of CS, which might work against the like of a G2, who, you know, when it comes to French derbies or like teams you know very well, these sort of playstyles might work. Against Avangar, it's not going to work out.
That's kind of a death knell to the FrenchFrogs. It's very uncharitable, Blair.
Yeah, I'm not very charitable when it comes to Counter-Strike. Listen, I come from Asian CS, right? I have no optimism left in my heart. I'm just going to state facts out there. Avangar's going to win this. They're going to have no trouble. That was, I wouldn't say a fluke, but it was G2 kind of underperforming, and I kind of felt like FrenchFrog were overperforming, so to speak, on their T side, because that CD side from both the teams on Nuke was pretty abysmal, let's be honest.
Spoken like a true Tyloo fan. Now, Potter, what you're thinking we're going to see in terms of maps, because the veto is nearly upon us?
You know, I was thinking probably Probably Dust 2, Inferno, or Mirage. These three are the maps that is probably going to come down to once again. But I have to point a little bit more about that structure that Blair mentioned. Avangar, we spoke about Jaime and how good he is and how he doesn't miss his shots. And sure, individually you have to be so intelligent to be able to make those plays. However, if you have the right teammates to set you up for success, you don't need to take flick shots. You don't need to take hard op shots, and you never need to be in a position where you have to claw your way out by getting a 3K. If you have the structure and your teammates set up in the positions that are advantageous for you, and you're able to refrag and find the enemies and find the kills, I think it makes the job much, much easier, and that's what we see from Avangar on almost every single map.
Well, the last time these two teams faced each other, it was when the FrenchFrogs were known as X3D Max. It was at the DreamHack Masters Dallas 2019 European closed qualifier. And actually, Avangar won. No surprises there. Yeah, exactly. Inferno, it was 16-4. So a resounding success for Avangar. So maybe FrenchFrogs are going to veto that one. And on Overpass, it was 10-16 again to Avangar. And with that in mind, Blair, do you think they're going to risk Inferno?
They might not have an option, to be very honest, because look, Nuke is going to get banned by Avangar immediately, right? That's the one map that you potentially might say FrenchFrogs have a chance on. So Nuke's taken out of the picture. I know Avangar is going to ban out Vertigo, so that's another map which they could potentially surprise them on. Every other map, Avangar is better than them, right? If it comes to Overpass, I think Avangar is going to ban it out. Then we have Train, Dust 2, Mirage, and Inferno remaining. Which one do you pick? Mirage? Avangar is good on it. Inferno, they just stormed them 16-4, like you mentioned right now, Frankie. So if I was FrenchFrog, I don't know what to do. Honestly, I think this one is up in the air.
Well, what they're going to do is go for Dust 2. So I don't know if the FrenchFrogs were watching Avangar playing Ghost. Maybe they're going to take advantage of Avangar's weaker T side?
I really wouldn't say it was a weaker T side, right? It kind of felt like Avangar said, listen, we're in a 14 or 15 rounds, so I think it was 15-5 or something at one point, and it kind of felt like Avangar were kind of slacking off a little bit. Again, credit to Ghost for trying what they did, but I felt like Avangar could have closed it out very, very quickly, very early on. So if you're just looking at the scoreline, they might be making a mistake here.
Well, sorry. I will say, though, Avangar, traditionally, their problem side is their T side on Dust 2. We saw it in Rio, actually. And their approach is very solid, but it's a lot slower than I think a lot of teams are used to. So Puggy's a newer team in FrenchFrogs. If they're able to create disruption and flourish in the chaos that they're going to be able to create, that might bode well for them, because Avangar's T side is slow-paced. It's very calculated.
Well, tell me a little bit more about the chaos of the FrenchFrogs, please, Blair, because I'm just wondering how they're going to fare against that structure of Avangar.
Well, I mean, yeah, the structure's going to be a problem, right? Especially CD side with Avangar. I'm just going to say this out. Everyone knows how they play this, right? They have Kicker, they have Buster playing towards B bomb side, or maybe one at B, one towards mid or something like that. And you have the other three players, Angie and Jaime, playing towards A bomb side. But the thing is, even though you know how they're going to play, they have these small little micro adjustments in the way they react to what the T's are throwing at them, so they're really, really solid on it. What I would like to see is take advantage of the fact that Avangar do struggle on the T side, like you mentioned, Potter. I would love to see FrenchFrogs try and aggress the extremities of the map, try to go for tunnels control early on, try to take the fight to Avangar, because if you give them the space and the time to set up their executes, they're in for a very hard time.
I'm curious about David P as well. I didn't know much about Mr. Belgian IGL before the match earlier today. And actually, he turned in a brilliant rating against G2 on Nuke, a 1.27. And that's not bad when you're up against such experienced players. Do you think, though, he's going to turn in such a performance on Dust 2 when he's also calling the shots, Potter?
You know, I think he should be able to. As you mentioned, he's the IGL, and he's been a founding member of this lineup. He's been on the lineup for a very long time, and so he's used to the protocols that they have. He's creating the protocols that they have, and so he's probably finding a lot more comfort. And even though they have two new players, and so usually the in-game leaders, when they are controlling all the pieces, they should have easier frags coming their way.
And that's what we all like to assume,
usually.
Right? Usually. But yeah, I think it's not just him. I think everyone needs to really step up here, step up the game. Haji, Logan, Maka, Jinx, all of these guys are players who you know, I haven't really seen them shine. Yes, they beat G2, but apart from that particular result, what have they really achieved when it comes to any other tournaments in the recent past, right? So they need to really play up to the level of, up to the best level, so to speak, because these guys at Avangar, sure, we talk about Jay, but everyone was playing really, really solid, not just in the previous game, but even in Rio, in all the online games as well. Buster, Fitch, Kicker, you name it, everyone's really going off on all cylinders. Only thing is, Jay just makes everyone else look so normal, you know?
He definitely does. And another impressive thing about Avangar is they don't crack under the pressure. As we mentioned earlier, this will be their third final appearance. If they make it there, this will be their third tournament LAN win in a row, actually, for this team as they showed up. So that's really impressive, especially for a quieter team like Avangar.
And Cricket was a real winning factor for them at the major as well. He hit the shots when it counted. And of course, he's got a very strategic brain because he sometimes does the IGL duties. Can they still win if Cricket doesn't show up?
I think Cricket was one of the primary reasons why that CD side was so solid for these guys, right, Dust 2. Like, he was playing a very crucial role. He had no back towards mid. He was pretty much holding mid all on his lonesome, and depending on if there's pressure towards B, he was going towards B to help out his team. I think it was Buster was playing towards the B bomb site, right? So he was such a crucial factor in them shutting down whatever mid to B or B play that goes with throwing at them. So I agree with you. I think if he does not show, if he doesn't play his role right, this CD side could struggle a little bit.
Well, let's talk about a couple of the players in our head-to-head. Potter, you've picked Naka and Jame. Why is that?
Definitely. I mean, these guys are both the oppers for their respective teams, and it's on Dust here. And we saw Maka performing really well, actually, on a Nuke. And Nuke isn't known for their op, and so for Maka, this is definitely going to be a huge map for him to come out and show up and show exactly what he's made of. And for Jame, it should be business as usual. I mean, he's not missing any shots. He's the in-game leader for Avangar, so I expect him to fully lead his team to victory here.
I am surprised that Jame hasn't been tempted away from Avangar. Is that putting the cat amongst the pigeons?
Pardon?
Well, Jame is such a star player now. It's a far cry from a year ago when he was benched by Avangar. And then there's often lots of talk about him whenever a spot opens up in a CIS team. Say, for example, Hellraisers recently. People talk about Jame leaving.
Why would he want to leave when he's playing in a team who are probably one of the best CIS teams out there? Who's better? A Na'Vi? Absolutely. But who would you really want to change anything in Na'Vi right now? That's a big question, right? Who else is there? Like, why would he leave probably the second best CIS team right now? Is there anyone else? I can't think of anyone else.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of room for him, honestly, as an in-game leader, as an opper. That kind of really narrows down the options for him. But, I mean, this is a really cool project in Avangar itself. And, yeah, I know he probably feels a lot of comfort as well, knowing that he controls all the pieces to his team.
And also, like, could be English as well. I don't know how well he speaks English, but if that's going to be a factor, he will be limited.
Not very good.
Not very good. So that's always going to limit him when it comes to his options, and he has to remain in CIS.
Well, we need to rush A and B because we need to head over to our casters, Dust and Vince, because we've got Dust 2, and it's pretty much ready to go, boys.
3 Dust 2 games in a row. Really love to see it. Thanks so much to the teams banning today for allowing us this privilege of casting Dust 2 3 times.
Not salty at all.
Definitely not salty
not
at all.
Not even a little bit
Both
salty.
teams play Inferno Mirage quite a lot, but whatever. Let's play Dust 2, a map that, you know, FrenchFrogs barely ever plays. Love it. Love to see it.
Well, we're going to have to see how this goes. I think in our minds, we've seen pretty much everything that Dust 2 has to offer with casting it twice in a row. But maybe there's something, there's some gems, some hidden gems that we haven't seen yet, Dust.
Not sure. I mean, we definitely saw Avangar played earlier today against Ghost. They obviously were able to win it pretty convincingly. A little bit of a mini comeback from Ghost, I guess, in that second half, but they never were really, truly in danger. And obviously, they have shown time and time again that they can be a very strong Dust 2 team. And the FrenchFrogs, they're in for an uphill battle. Really played it on LAN against Big at EPL. They lost a close game there. Outside of that, just a few online games. Again, this lineup hasn't been together that long. Obviously, the core of them have been together on X3D Max, but other than that, it's definitely still quite a new team, and they will be starting out on that CT side. Maka, the opper, this time trying to do long range with the USP. Not going to find anything just yet. Haji getting aggressive on Catwalk, though, so we could see a little bit of a skirmish here between lower B tunnels and Cat.
Some nades to play with, too, on the utility belt for FrenchFrogs. Smoke and flash for Kicker. Pretty slow. I mean, we know that Avangar on the T sides can be quite a slow, lumbering team. Trying to find their way into a kill and convert the advantage.
Bit of a stalemate so far. The cat aggression has somewhat been thwarted. Haji's still sticking around, though. That is a position he does like to play even on gun rounds, so he feels very at home kind of pushing out this catwalk. Avangar with 3 players now charging towards the back of cat. I think they kind of faked a little bit of a mid-B. Pow flash comes in. Haji not finding anything. Buster, that's a great catch.
There was a moment there where you thought if he opens up, there could be carnage, there could be mayhem. But he goes down with a whimper, as does Jinx on the site. This opens up A, very much for business. The terrorist's going to swarm it. Both kills courtesy of Buster. And Kickert is watching mid for this very play. He's whiffed out a few bullets, but he is keeping them at arm's reach. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple for Avangar at this point. David P, last remaining CT. Does have a smoke, maybe wants to try and save onto this, but in terms of the round, it is over.
Yeah, really clinical there from Avangar. Picking up the cat aggression was Buster. Great catch from Kickert there in middle. Got some help from Sanji as well, who actually doubled back to help reinforce middle, because the bulk of the retake was coming through that route, as, you know, Kickert was able to pretty quickly pick up on that. So all in all, really good play there from Avangar, as good as it gets. And we'll go ahead and take it to 1-0.
Yeah, don't expect too much of a buy for the CT. The save smoke maybe gives them a couple of options if they want to try and play aggressively, but it really was a systematic shutdown on the site. I mean, there's not too much else to say about this. FrenchFrogs just outclassed. They're actually going to go for the force.
Yeah, indeed they will. They're going to get the scout onto Maka right away, see if he can find something over towards middle. Is going to spot some players, not able to land. It does get it to Fitch, though. David P with the nade, able to come in onto Sanji.
Kicker is going to return fire. David P has been silenced. He is, of course, the player that opened the account for FrenchFrogs onto Sanji. A lot of damage has been inflicted to Avangar, though. Fitch down at 13, Kicker just over half. There are dangers here, Dust. There are,
especially with the position that Haji's playing. Are they really going to check that? And now Maka with the headshot on top of it.
There's a flash. It's all about that second play. It's all about Haji. And it's CZ gonna rip through the head. James, the only player to bounce back. He's going to double up, though. A couple of whiffed shots by Maka makes this a possibility. Smoke on the cross, not far away with the Desert Eagle was Jinx. But with this bomb plant, this now in the realms of possibility. Sure, James very low on 9. A stray bullet's going to kill him. We've discussed already how difficult this site is to retake, how many angles, how many little corners you have to be cognizant of. He's going to be playing behind the car box. Just stacked down, gets checked by Jinx. He was crossing his fingers and hoping for the best. He had to roll the dice, but it didn't work out for him.
Really well done there. The scout of Maka coming in huge for a couple of kills, almost a team ace, in fact. Haji again playing that really tricky spot up close. So they steal one away early on the force. Now 1-1. Definitely not the result we expected. Nice little nade stack there on the replay, showing you what David P was up to with Logan. And Avangar are just going to have to chill out with just the Deagle on Fitch and Kickert. One pop flash as well for Buster, perhaps.
And it was this side against Ghost earlier where Avangar did stumble and they did stall. They had a very good CT side. It was the T side where Wardell was able to start to open up with his catwalk dominance with the AWP. So maybe a few slips and slides yet for Avangar before they can stabilize.
Yeah, again, they're very much set in their ways on their style. You know, they very much are that slow, methodical, milk it into the last 30 seconds or so, you know, kind of just play default pretty much every round. Buster tunnels, Sanji long A, everyone else just kind of working control of cat mid. You know, they don't really fluctuate from that too much. I will say since Sanji joined the team, they have gone a little bit scrappier at times. They do give Sanji a bit of freedom to be a little bit aggressive on his own. So there are some hints of adaptation and evolution, but still their foundation is very much the slow approach. Even on an eco like this, you can see they're taking that approach. Now finally gathering up the bulk of their forces on Catwalk, looking to see if they can't find some type of way into this A site for at least the bomb plant.
Sanji trying to fake as if they could be going B. Maka with the scout has been dinked. I believe that was from a Glock, though, so he is pretty much good to go. Kickert's going to finish him off with the Desert Eagle. Bomb has been dropped. Haji's FAMAS will rip through the head of Jay. able to retrieve the bomb and get it planted. And this is where FrenchFrog should leapfrog over Avangar and get this easy defuse. There's very little to fend off against them, just pistols. Sanji remains on catwalk, but he is going to pull back as the bomb will get defused. So FrenchFrogs with a successful retake, but that's great news for Avangar. That is pretty much their mission complete.
Oh, absolutely. They got the bomb planted. They just were able to push Maka Scout off of corner well enough to be able to get that bomb secured. And you weren't really expecting much past that. Now they'll be able to get the full buy. We'll be seeing Jane with an AWP. Sanji will actually take the SIG. Jane just looking for the mid pick here. No spawn for anything else. FrenchFrogs looking to contest long A as quickly as they can. Fitch, though, gets flashed trying to cross the blue bin, but he's getting eaten up by utility. Still alive somehow, but on borrowed time.
There's a gap between those smokes as well, so once that smoke disappears, so will Fitch. And David P is the man to get the job done. Kickert, though, does bounce back with a kill of his own on Tamaka. So keeping FrenchFrogs honest, and this is going to get into dangerous territory for Logan. He's all alone. He's on an island by himself. There is so much space between him and the rest of his team, and they could just be setting up for a save already. A 3-on-4 retake, completely caught in transition.
Man, I love that call from Avangar, though. I mean, Fitch, even though he got destroyed, he got information that they're doing a 3-man long control. So the moment that Kicker gets that kill on middle on the Opera through mid doors, they know that there's only one player B. And they know that the rotation is super far away because the CTs are only just starting to transition off of long A back towards car and maybe towards TC spawn. So they knew that they had a vulnerability, and rather than just kind of playing it out slow as kind of tradition for Avangar, they made a quick reactionary call, and it was the perfect one, and they capitalized flawlessly. So they will tie up the game 2-all. No threat of any of these guns being stripped from them either, so they'll carry all of these over. And yeah, well done. That's all I can really say. It's just a great play from Kicker at middle and a great reaction off the back of it.
It doesn't always have to be the most complicated Counter-Strike. Efficient plays from Avangar is going to yield the result they were looking for. 2-2. As you highlighted, though, completely correctly, 7 players did survive with their weapons, so we're going to see much more of a take 2 with plenty of guns on both teams.
And Fitch looking to push that long. This time he gets the blue bin, taking virtually no damage, but the problem is Maka. He's found a pick over towards middle. So still the advantage goes to FrenchFrogs, despite the fact that Avangar got some free map control.
Avangar, though, have fully gone all in on this long play. They have no one mid, so for all they know, someone from the CTs could be pushing up mid round the back of them. So it does make them fully committed to this play now. If they back out, it could be a massacre as far as they're concerned. Obviously, we have the benefit of seeing that's not the case. Maka, though, gonna be able to find Fitch and deal with him. It's a double stack on the card.
Yeah, exactly. The Jinx extinguished it, though, so now they know. Now that trump card's gone. No pulling that one out their sleeve. They know that they still have him there as well. Haji has to come in and reinforce. It actually does get the kill and gets the information on the bomb. So great team play from FrenchFrogs to try to bail out a player who's been stranded at the car. And he just finishes it off. So really well done from the FrenchFrogs.
Well played. Rifle round this time going to go their way. Off the back is saving those previous 3. And now it's the Vanguard's turn to sweat, as they really only have 2 players that could afford AKs, one of which is Kickert, and he's gone in. So they're going to go for more of a hero play with 1 AK-47. No grenades alongside it, which is a little bit surprising that no one on his team picked up a flash or a smoke or anything at all.
It's actually been interesting to see Haji playing B so often. He's usually more of an A-side player in all the games that I had watched FrenchFrogs play on Dust 2, so a little bit of an adjustment being made on their defense in that regard. Actually drifts towards middle in this particular occasion. Just boosted up over in CT spawn.
Kicker did pick up a smoke just at the end of buy time, so they do have that 1 to play with. Obviously drops him down to $100, but everyone else on his team can buy next round regardless. No long presence as of yet, although Sanji is starting to make a move around there. Kickert gonna smoke onto CT, trying to fake this mid-B split, but his smoke's actually missed.
Indeed it has. And they don't have any utility left. Now it's just going to be raw aim duels and really only the AK to put to real use except for some Deagles being in the corner here. Good for a couple. Maka with the bait and switch.
Yeah, as soon as that smoke missed, FrenchFrogs knew they didn't have to budge an inch. They have all the information they want. One player could just sit there and wait. They are going to get a bomb plant out of this, though. So again, ticking the economy forward, at least ticking some boxes. Also forcing FrenchFrogs to come towards the remaining terrorists. Maybe this is where they can do a little bit more damage. Maka with the AWP, perforating the box, ends James' life. Buster with his Deagle is at least going to rattle one head before he goes on his way out. Fitch getting tagged up on the jumping Logan. And FrenchFrogs will get it done. It's at the cost of 3 lives on a bomb plant. That's actually a pretty solid round for Avangar.
Yeah,
only an AK-47.
Avangar on both their ecos have been able to find some good damage in bomb plants, and it's always come up the catwalk. I really feel like they've been able to find that so easily. I do wonder if at some point on a full gun round with lots of utility, if they're going to start looking to keep pressuring that A platform from Cat, keep flash pushing Maka off the corner, who's really been pretty much always playing towards long A or at the car. He's never really been on side or ramp, so I feel like with the right utility, Avangar could really exploit this catwalk and have, you know, much better firepower in a post-plant situation in these ecos. They're going to go for the long control again, though. They've been separated by an incendiary, so one player's a little bit stranded. They try to jump through it to help him out, but Haji's going to punish that. They tried to force a play to help out Fitch, and look what it's cost them. 2 players down as they tried to make something happen at long A.
Logan into the tunnels, looking for information, and Kickert's actually
solemn.
bypassed him completely. He's getting onto B site. Downside is bomb still back at spawn. So we can't get the free plant just yet.
Yeah, Kicker did see him cross, so that's how he knew that he could do this. I thought maybe he'd go after the kill and lower, but he didn't. But here's the problem. Logan can still cut these other 2 players off as Kicker holds position at B. So it's not necessarily a guaranteed bomb plant after all. Logan could still really destroy this.
James finds him. Now they can make it straight up rush towards the B side to make matters worse. David P caught out in the open with a CZ. Retake gonna have to come to fruition quickly. They're gonna go aggressively, completely catches the T's off guard. Now Finger has to put that CZ to use. The remaining terrorist is in the tunnels. James' position is gonna be so difficult to clutch from. As soon as he's spotted, there's gonna be nades in his face. It's gonna be spray from Hachi's AUG as well. Hyper-aggression wins the day for FrenchFrogs. You can see that Avangar, they hadn't set up post-plant yet. They didn't realize that was a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, Kicker obviously was always vulnerable. He just had this easy to work with. He did great to kind of sneak his way to window and get that quick kill to help get that bomb in. But as you noted, they just pop flash through a smoke, rack the kills up. Haji a big part of that. Good to see from Haji. He's been playing really well in all their online games, so good to see that he's bringing that to LAN as well alongside Maka, who's been kind of the real stable force for this team in the games I've seen. Still not quite the full buy for Avangar, by the way. Fitch without a rifle, sacks it to get utility, and there's a Galil on Sanji, so not ideal. They do slow it down, though, get back to their default. Haji aggressive on the Cat, though, with that AUG, and gets a nice nade in. Pretty juicy, gets a fair amount of damage.
Not bad at all, just shy of 50 damage between the 2 of them. Puts them in range of the headshots from the M4A4 and the AUG longer range as well.
What's interesting is James is not at middle. He's playing towards B tunnels with Fitch and Buster. This is not normal, but I guess because he doesn't have the AWP, he doesn't feel confident kind of taking the duels elsewhere. So they're trying to do something different. And there you have it, Fitch catching Haji. Can collect the gun as well because of that. That's an AUG in his hands now. And the advantage with still lots of time left to play with. And they could still really go for an ace split. They're pressuring middle with James. I like this.
And again, the CTs go aggressive, fighting fire with fire. This time, however, it doesn't quite work out. Fitch gonna double up. The only aggressor in this round thus far. 30 seconds coming up, and Maka finds the flick. Gonna have to dart back towards CT spawn. Is there a second smoke for that cross? Otherwise, they are tempting fate. Double spray from James, though. The bomb's been dropped. Fortunately, so has Maka. Avangar will pick up a 3rd round.
Yeah, that was a dangerous situation for the CTs when that mid-kill happens. Haji gets caught trying to push off the catwalk. And now you have to worry about mid-B. You have to worry about a cat push. They decide to try to push through cat and get the kill. But Fitch picks up on it. And then once Jane gets those 2 kills in lower B tunnels, it's done. So FrenchFrogs now having the Sage, is doing a 5-man stack long. It's just a default for Avangar, so they're not going to find out about this just yet.
And due to the perseverance from Avangar, they have finally broken the economy down. FrenchFrogs did have enough for a couple plays to go for a full buy, but of course, especially with a lead, with a bit of a buffer, you want to wait for those AWPs to come to fruition. Gonna get control over long. Avangar happy to sit back and wait. They know that FrenchFrogs are in a bit of a dicey situation, economically speaking. However, they are starting to make a move up catwalk, and this will be worrisome. There's 4 players around the corner. That Molotov is going to keep them in position momentarily. James going to go for the peek alongside his teammate, the Fitch. He's doing so much damage that now they've got to pull back. Now they've got to get out of here, but the bomb's been dropped on the floor. That grenade is going to do so much damage, but they just about managed to mitigate it and avoid the explosion. Logan P250 landing headshots. It's down to James. What a collapse. What a nightmare for Avangar. Maybe James can remedy the situation, though. Maybe he can save this after all. Intelligent place to sit in position, anticipating a rotation.
It's all going to come down to timing. When does David P decide to actually make this flank happen?
Now
James
seems to be the answer to that, Dust.
He's taking some damage falling down, though. Now he knows where David P is. He should have heard that gun get picked up. We'll just go ahead and traverse his way now across middle into B. He's going to ensure that bomb plant. Actually not!
Why didn't he go window side?
I do not know. That's actually a really good question.
You go window side, you can't be spotted from CT spawn.
Yeah, I don't know.
He had time.
Yeah, that's one of those things where in the heat of the moment, just not thinking about the finer details. Tough, though, just running into a stack like that on catwalk was just a perfect little rotation off of long from FrenchFrogs with their stack, and it nets a great result. There was no way out, too, because the bomb dropped. And that's always the danger of playing slow defaults against ecos, is sometimes you're going to put in a situation where it's starting to get mid to late round, you need to make a commitment, and then you push into the stack if you're unlucky. And then there's really no way to kind of bail yourself out of it. The clock's just not there.
Well, they're going to have to put the disappointments of round 9 in the back of their minds. They've gone straight back in with another force. This time, of course, with FrenchFrogs going for a half buy in the last round, they've got a decent purchase. Logan, eagle-eyed, looking onto the entrance of B. Gets flashed out. His teammates fragged alongside him. Maybe that previous round's going to matter absolutely naught for Avangar. If they can break FrenchFrogs down right here, right now, they could be off to a stormer of a half. 2 of these players have already given up. They want to go save, barrel the gun. He's going to betray James around the corner. Still gets the better of Maka anyway. So Avangar will have a 4th round, Dust. Question is, can they hold on to these 2 weapons for FrenchFrogs?
Yeah, really just simple pop flash play into B. Good entries from Buster and Kicker, and that's the round done. Buster, who normally plays B tunnels as more of like a support lurk, is actually the one leading the charge with Kicker, and they're able to make it work. Really well done. They also get a second AWP that they can put into play next round. Actually, Kicker thinks better of it and picks the AK back up. So 2 guns saved for the CT side, but the round goes the way of Avangar. And the money, I don't think, is so hot for FrenchFrogs, if I remember correctly. So this could be a rough one coming up for them. Can't really surround those 2 guns they saved very much. I guess they did have just enough.
It does put them to 2 scouts, though. I mean, this is one of the maps where scouts can be so prolific, and Jinx caught with a flashbang. Fitch will finish off the rest.
2 scouts and an op. That is interesting.
And 3 players positioned on A. Last time this sealed Avangar's fate. Will they walk into this trap once more? Logan, a lot of faith shown in his ability as he is on B completely alone. No one's even close, although David P starting to make a move, and that's why. Takes the head off Buster. There going to be any more peaks? Probably not. Avangar going to cut their losses, or at least they're going to be bolstered up by some grenades preceding the push. Logan very nearly threads the eye of the needle and lands another headshot. Gonna smoke to his left-hand side to buy him a little bit of time. Does actually tag Jay, looking for another one, but Sanji gonna lay him down. Smoke's now starting to blot out all the entrance and exit points on B. And FrenchFrogs will turn tail and run. They're in for another save.
Yeah, have to keep these 3 guns. Again, if they didn't, they would have really nothing left. No utility, no, only just a couple of kits, not the numbers. Retaking B so difficult. And when you're in a fragile economic state like this, you do just have to kind of back off and carry this over. Again, Avangar's just having some really good reactionary CS. They realize that there's a scout back B plat. They realize that, hey, he probably doesn't have that much support. Let's just smoke to where he can't really snipe us and then use some flashes and close the distance. And they make it work again, only losing 1 player along the way. They've actually won 3 out of the last 4 rounds now. So after kind of having all these rounds on an island throughout the half, they're starting to find a little bit of consistency. Right when they need it most, right in the heart of the half.
And a lot of those rounds were at great cost. They were these eco sort of half-fire rounds where they were getting bombs planted, they were getting some kills here and there. So FrenchFrogs have been very quick to save in these rounds where it was clear that they were second favorite, such as the round prior. They're going to save another 3 guns. And here comes a tactical pause to try and figure out what to do next.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Maka wants to do something aggressive with the AWP, whether it's facing middle or quick catting or challenging the long A corner. Like, Fitch has actually had a really hard time when he's pushed out long. I think he's only had 1 entry, perhaps, off of all the long A controls that Avangar have gone for. So I feel like FrenchFrogs would feel pretty confident just keep holding the long A. They've been successful time and time again. So that could happen again, or we could see Maka take an op aggressively on Cat. Try to do something tricky. I don't think Avangar will do anything different. They're probably going to keep opening up default, give James time to work with the AWP, pick up on any aggression that FrenchFrogs throws at them, and then just play reactionary CS, which they've done oh so well. But look at this boost from Maka. This is something different. Over a smoke, catches the head of James. And so it was indeed something gimmicky from the op that helped FrenchFrogs put their best foot forward.
That's a solid shot. Of course, they can't get their hands on the weapon back at T-spawn, but it is going to put more pressure on Avangar. Maybe means they're going to have to speed things up. We know they like to take their sweet time.
There's also the aggression from Haji on Catwalk as well, so FrenchFrogs have a lot of vision on middle. They've given up long A, but they've reinforced Catwalk oh so well, and they have, again, a lot of capabilities at middle now. So this is going to be hard on Avangar. Maybe if Sanji lurks all the way through A, he'll be able to help alleviate some of this. But the way it's set up now, if Avangar really are going to go for some type of mid-B play, they're in for a lot of trouble with FrenchFrogs positioning.
Yeah, trying to exhaust some of the grenades on B. I think all they got out of it was a flash because, well, that's all FrenchFrogs have. There are no grenades left remaining. FrenchFrogs going to be in this with raw firepower and not much else. They do, of course, have the player advantage, though, going in their favor. Haji's going to make a move. One of these players is headshot, but it's not going to be an issue because Buster comes out swinging. And oh my god, David P, what just happened there? Did he burn from 100%? I didn't quite catch that.
I'm not sure how he didn't get away from that. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. He definitely could have just backpedaled. He wasn't stuck in a corner or anything like that. This is just like classic overextension from FrenchFrogs, though. Haji thought that they were distracted middle and he could just peek from Cat. Totally didn't work. The mid player died and he got caught out in the open having to fight against 2 players and just got waxed. And then, yeah, David P just melts. And I really don't know how that happened. So this time, aggression bites FrenchFrogs. And Avangar will tie this thing up. And again, the money is just not there for FrenchFrogs.
Plus, keep in mind, earlier today, it was the CT side that saw Avangar really pull ahead of Ghost.
Yeah. I mean, if Logan can hold this AK, there would be enough money to still get David P a gun, even though he only has 1K with the 3-round loss bonus coming. So that's going to be key. He needs to make sure he gets this AK out of there.
Switching to your knife.
Hate to see it. And so now David P only has $3,400. It's not really great on the CT side to be trying to buy weapons with. And so they're going to have decent firepower, but 1 or 2 of their players is going to be a little bit lacking. And yeah, it's going to be David P with an auto shotgun and Jinx on a FAMAS.
Logan tagged on the cross with his AUG. Already feeling the sting. James unable to deal with him just yet, but of course now oh so low for the oncoming battles that will rage in this next minute and a half.
Maka again looking to face mid as much as he can. He's really favored kind of sitting at these doors, and Kicker's punished him a couple of times, but Maka's also delivered from this position, particularly the last round he boosted over that smoke and caught Jame. Ooh, that's a nasty one on the Fitch.
Maka's landing some sick shots through mid doors.
Indeed he is. And now FrenchFrogs also have a stack towards B, and they might even push tunnels and get this information, which they desperately need because right now A is a bit vulnerable. I think they just feel confident that Avangar's slow play will give them time to do these types of little pushes and stacks and still be able to rotate when they need to.
This is maybe where their reputation precedes them, Dust, that they are a very slow team, so you don't have to rotate or react very quickly to meet their demands.
We'll just push through tunnels, though. Now they should be shuffling CT spawn, but the smokes and nades are already down. A lot of weight on Haji's shoulders. He's got no assistance in sight.
That Molotov down onto Gusto is going to force him out of position into some flashbang. Slight gap in the smoke. They're going to have to play off this, though, because the smokes are going to start to dwindle. The timing not favoring Haji. And FrenchFrogs not budging an inch from B. And backside of spawn, they're going to save once again. Avangar, for the first time in this match, I believe, actually going to be taking the lead.
Indeed they are. That was a big kill out towards middle or B tunnels there from Avangar that really stopped that rotation from being able to come in. So even though they got the B tunnels pushing the intel, they never were able to shuffle over, so Haji got left alone on Plat, which I think was a mistake because his teammate was Pit, so he probably should have also fallen back and just maintained Pit with his teammate, or his teammate needed to come assist him on the corner. When you get stuck alone like that, you're forced to make an individual play, and Avangar's throwing 3 at you on a cat cross, and you're mollied out of position. It's just a bad combination. So Avangar is starting to, I think, take advantage of FrenchFrogs making a few misplays on how they position themselves in the mid-round. Starting to catch that aggression, starting to punish it. And now they've won, I believe, 4 in a row.
Yes.
5 of the last 6.
And correction, Avangar did win the pistol round, so they were in the lead then, but this is the first time they've been in the lead since the pistol, with FrenchFrogs getting a lot of defuses even in the rounds that they won, so it's starting to catch up with them now.
Yeah, they've been basically recycling 3 guns time and time again, just trying to bolster up what buy they can, but it hasn't been a great one. Jame catching Maka this time around. Maka trying to do something a little bit different off of Catwalk, but this time Jame is wise to it.
Solid shot by Jame. Haji did land the dink onto him with the CZ. Jame a little bit fortunate he wasn't plucked out there.
I mean, the thing is, when you throw a curveball enough times, it loses its meaning. So Haji's been trying to throw these little gimmicks, and again, now Avangar's just aware of it. Now they can read it, they can be prepared, and Jame caught 2 different aggressive players off of Catwalk and basically won the round off of that alone. It's not over just yet, but they have a massive advantage as they come onto A. I think FrenchFrog is always thinking of saving their guns at B.
Yeah, those 2 kills did end up being the difference maker. Another save for the 2 Orgs, plus David P has some Kevlar. And a flash.
It's like the classic catch-22 where I feel like FrenchFrogs are pressured to make plays because they don't have the ideal utility and firepower to play standard and just fight for small pieces of map control and play back. So they're trying to do these aggressive maneuvers off of Cat, but again, you do it enough times and I mean, Avangar is going to be prepared.
Yeah, it's a bit telegraphed now at this point. I think FrenchFrogs need to adapt and evolve to an extent because it simply isn't working. Plus, Avangar is shifting through the gears. They had a very slow start. Now starting to find themselves.
Yeah, this has been a great little run here from Avangar. Extending that lead. James showing you what he's capable of with the AWP. Just 1 round left in the half. Finally, FrenchFrogs have a full buy, though it doesn't miss as Logan's already gone.
He's been having rough times through mid. He gets tagged constantly, and this time outright killed. Maka, consistent nuisance through the mid doors. Can he strike once more? If FrenchFrogs want to end this half, just 1 round deficit, you have to feel he's going to be a big part of this. David P. trying to find some information for his team. Needs to make sure he doesn't go down. There's a smoke, going to throw one in retort. The battle of the AWPers continues in mids, somewhat ending in a stalemate, though.
Yeah, it did. Jane was hoping that he could catch that kill because I think if he did, they knew that B would be only one player and they could just rush him down with 3 players and go into B, plant the bomb, and probably pull off the round. But since Jane could not find the kill, now they think better of it, start to back off. They also have to be a little bit careful that they haven't been pushed through long A. So now they're starting to finally figure out that that's fine. But they need to start fighting for something soon here. I mean, it's not quite down to the wire on the clock, but this is where you want to start finding some control. And they're going to put the pressure on the stairs. They do have the utility to drop down CT spawn and attack A 3 ways, or they could just do the standard cat cross while Jame flanks through middle with an op.
Here we go. Hail of grenades connecting onto A. A site filled with fire. But there's no one there to defend it. There's nowhere possible to douse out these flames. Jinx holding his position in long, waiting for the rest of his team to make moves. This is the last round of the half, of course.
What is David P doing? Get out of B. You got to go for this.
Very slow, yeah. Almost setting up as they wanted to save and realized, oh, hold on a second, this is round 15. We don't get to keep the guns going into the second half. James spots a couple players in mid to smoke this off, making the rotation one-dimensional. Jinx now has to make a move, realizing a lot of this falls on his shoulders. He's the only player on long, and he's been found by Sanji and put down with authority. And now all the kills going in the way of Avangar, who will lead the half 9-6 with the CT side upcoming.
Yeah, that was a weird retake there from the CT side. They were way too slow on that being the last round. I may not have realized it, but either way, a big half from Avangar. Up now 9-6, and we'll bring you the rest of our final map of the day here in just a few moments. Stay tuned.
And for the final time for today, we are back into day number 1. Dust 2 has been all we've casted so far, Dust.
Love to see it.
But to be fair, Avangar with quite a decent comeback considering how poor that half really was for them. 9-6 lead, CT side coming up. I'm expecting big things from them here.
Yeah, they have a really strong CT side, Dust 2, that's for sure. Especially if they can get the op out early. Flash push into the middle here to kick things off from the FrenchFrogs, but they think better of it and back away, and now we'll focus on Catwalk. That's a great kill from Maka onto Fitch, catching him trying to push through long A.
Patience proving to be a virtue, opening up things nicely in the FrenchFrogs. Swarming on A site. There's no kit or nades for the remaining 2 CTs to use. And to make matters worse, Maka has now turned his hand back towards long. So if Kicker goes into long doors, he should be a goner. Maka's shown his hand maybe a little bit too early. Never mind. Still takes the head off of Kicker, vanquishes him. And FrenchFrogs surely will have a second pistol round. Buster's the only player that stands between them. Simply not enough time. Has now been spotted, courtesy of Haji's death. It looks like we're going to be tied back up to equality here, Dust, unless something crazy happens with a force buy from Avangar.
Yeah, we're certainly on pace to perhaps see a tie game coming around the corner. Really good pistol round victory there. Just sheer brute force and speed coming out of the FrenchFrogs, and also catching that push from Fitch was pretty key. No real hope of a retake for Avangar, and they will hold off on any type of force buying. And actually are just going to get the pistols and rush up the mid.
Interesting difference in strategy. There is the Zeus. James going to make Jinx ride the lightning, but no second kill. And Sanji has actually got the better of Logan. That's going to be a Galil trading hands. He doesn't have Kavlos, so aim punch going to be working against him, and David P's UMP will do the rest. But 2 kills in pretty much no investment, and they'll take it.
You love yourself a Zeus kill.
Unless you're on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, it's just such a meme weapon.
I
don't know what's worse, getting knifed or getting Zeused.
I feel like Zeus hurts me more.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's because of the little scream that your character does. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I'm surprised you get that high pitch, to be honest, mate. That surprised me.
There's no need.
Oh, they line up, and Kicker puts them down in their place.
And that's something that we saw constantly in the Ghost game. Kicker's so good at challenging middle as well as 3-stacking B. And here's the thing. FrenchFrogs is a way looser, scrappier team than Avangar. They are way faster paced. They are way less grounded in default and set roles. They definitely will go for wild plays like that. And Avangar's structure and the strengths that they have on the CT side is going to be the perfect counter for those types of plays. So if FrenchFrogs are looking to play the T side like I've seen them play online, where they just play a really scrappy style, or they just kind of run at things, they're in for a bad time now that the guns are out. So they need to make sure that they focus up and actually, you know, do some correct kind of default utility at least.
Which is best case scenario considering a lack of grenades. If the first trades go against Avangar, this could spiral out of control. Instead, they're large and in charge. 45 seconds left. FrenchFrogs making inroads through mid, but not really yielding a great deal for them.
Yeah. Avangar like this setup, by the way. They like playing the triple B with one just watching middle, and then the two kind of willing to play together. Sanji will back off long if he needs to. Jane going to actually come help him out there with the op instead. Does find the kill.
And that really should be all she wrote. With this crossfire being established, Jane watching with his AWP, and Sanji up close. A clean sweep round, only Kicker taking some damage.
So we'll have to keep an eye on how that persists. Is Kicker going to be able to keep dealing the damage at middle with an AUG? He's very, very dangerous in that position. And the other question for me is, will FrenchFrogs tighten up their play? I mean, that's obviously just their first gun round, so it's way too early to call, but I just don't want to see too much of that loose play. Not when this game is this close. Here's another thing that FrenchFrogs like to do, by the way. They love to pressure B with 3 players early round. They won't necessarily commit to a B rush, but they do love to pressure it. Try to pull that rotation from middle, and then use that to have easier time to get up catwalk. Or just go for the rush if they feel like they can make it work. In this case, they're going to shift through lower tunnels. But you're going to see that opening a lot, I think, throughout this half. They really do favor that.
They did manage to keep 3 players interested on B and take some of their grenades away. Interestingly, Avangar haven't shifted any of these B players into mid yet. They're all staying very static.
That's how this plan backfires for FrenchFrogs, because Avangar like playing this setup anyway. So even though that pressure on B causes this rotation, they're fine playing like this. And now that FrenchFrogs are going to fall back into what looks like a mid-B split, Avangar are perfectly placed for it. This is a nightmare for FrenchFrogs, when you think about the positioning at least.
2 flashes and a Molotov, that's all they have. MP5 AK Scout. Here comes the flash, push behind it. It is a good flashbang, but now it's starting to sweeper side, and Sanji with 2. Kikut's going to chime in with 2 of his own, and Buster likely will finish off the rest. Can Maka put some bullets to face it? No. Avangar take a 3-round lead, 11-8 to the good.
Well, if you were wondering, will it blend? Yes, it will. They just got absolutely rinsed through the crossfire. Again, that triple B setup, perfect prescription for that illness. Was not even any mid-pressure from FrenchFrogs that round, so everyone got to pretty much keep their attention on tons. Now FrenchFrogs are just going to be on 1 P250 and the rest Glocks, so this should be a mop-up.
James aggressively on the Xbox does have a couple players just behind him as well. Kikut's one of them. And pardon me, it's Buster that's on the B side. So this 2-man aggressive squad now going to think better of it, start to shimmy away. There is a sell-by date on that aggression. And James had gone well and truly past it. No real investment from FrenchFrogs. P250, that's about it.
They might be able to overwall James. He might get 1 and they might be able to swarm him with the rest, but outside of that, there's not much hope for them in this round.
No kills, but information, and even if FrenchFrogs get up onto Catwalk, very unlikely they can make a move across to the site. There's a Molotov to greet them, eating up valuable time. Kikut eroding the presence in mid. Mack is the first to fall. More on the chopping block momentarily.
Yeah, now they're just hoping the cross cat and get a bomb plant. But James going to be there with the op to stop that cross. But he actually allows a few through, so they might indeed get that plant. Indeed, that's all they could really hope for in this round.
Yeah, it's somewhat surprising to me that no one was playing up on the likes of Juice or maybe on the boxes themselves. Obviously, it's an easy mop-up in the end, but it does give across a bomb plant, so FrenchFrogs will have a better buy across the board.
They don't have too many left in them, though. I mean, Avangar are starting to kind of approach the finishing tape. Maybe just a couple of more full buys to truly challenge from the FrenchFrog side at this point. Again, they're going to have to think of something different. I mean, the thing is, they favor the loose scrappier style. They favor the 3-man pressure B early, but they do have the capability of doing like pit isolation with smoke walls on long corner. They know how to do the center smokes to cross cat onto the A side, so it's not like they're unaware of how to play Dust 2. And they do catch a nice little pick onto Fit to open things up and get control of Pit.
Nearly 2. I'm not sure how Sanji survived that. Was dodging bullets for quite a while. 23 health left.
Trying to play an extra in John Wick Chapter 3, perhaps.
Certainly going through his 9 lives is Sanji. It does also force Avangar to play more passive on this defense. They're both on Catwalk as opposed to the side.
Yeah, this is interesting for Maka.
I like the idea, but obviously Maka now realizing it was for nothing. No one's even home.
I think Avangar are in the most efficient setup for a 4-on-5. They have cat covered. If they go along, okay. James just has to hope he can catch the cross with the AWP, and they still have 2 players on B. The only real thing they're weak to is a mid-B play. Fortunately for them, that's not going to happen. They just have to try to deal with this cross, and James in the right spot.
Oh, that flick was disgusting. Into the head of Jinx. Plenty of grenades now tossed onto the site. Some in retaliation, but Kikut is going to deal with it. Bomb's been dropped, though, from Buster. Spinning around, Logan gets the better of him. 20 seconds to go, and Kikut connects the headshot. 2-on-3 in favor of Avangar, and one of these players is out of commission. He's now trying to make a move through CT, and here's the last player left. It's David P. This round going to go the way of Avangar. After they assumed mid-control, they went into long control as well. It's all flipped away.
Counter-terrorists win.
Dave.
Oh, I was about to say, is he able to hold us the
he
gun?
does indeed save
The
it.
answer is yes.
But I mean, we discussed it, right? That was literally the best setup that Avangar could hope for in a 4-on-5, and it worked exactly what they wanted to. They held their utility, which was great. I mean, they had it for the actual take itself. Their utility really did stall out players being able to really comfortably get into a bomb plant position. Not only that, but the guy with the bomb jumped on top of a box and was just easy pickings for the player on CT slope. That was a bit of a fumble, in my opinion. Just kind of gave a kill away at that point. But again, I really like the way that James just hits a gnarly shot. I mean, that's just pure skill. And then again, holding their utility until the right moment. Sanji was kind of the final nail in the coffin with that flank through long A. Kind of ended any hopes of FrenchFrogs pulling that one off. And so Avangar in a really comfortable position now. I mean, ever since basically the last 7 rounds of the first half, they have been in total control of this game. Most of FrenchFrogs rounds come from early first half play and winning pistol in this half. And the second, because they got it for free because Avangar saved.
Yeah, in terms of raw rifle rounds, it really has been Avangar sailing away with this. Going to be a double peak chain with a pixel protruding around the corner, converts into a kill. Jinx benched until round 23. As you mentioned previously, Dust, FrenchFrogs are running out of opportunities. They're running out of time. This next round, assuming they go 14-8 behind, this is it. It's do or die.
Yep. Unless they can make something happen with the small amount of firepower they had to work with in this one. But so far, so good for Avangar. James caught both kills this round out middle. We'll go ahead and fade back. Logan gets control of the pit, sure, but they're still down in the 3 versus 5, which is just one rifle in play.
Looking dire for the FrenchFrogs. 1 rifle to their name, 1 flashbang. They do have a bomb in close proximity to Maka. If he can sweep around the corner and land a headshot, maybe there'd be a glimmer of hope, but that has been doused by Kikurt's hands. And to make matters worse, 30 seconds is all that remains. Time itself now their enemy. James waiting for the peak. Gonna find it. Does shoot a bit prematurely, but not gonna get punished just yet. David P catches Sanji on the rotation. There's not enough time to get this bomb retrieved and get a bomb plant, so no, they're gonna save instead.
Yeah, 2 rifles saved, not bad, especially because their money isn't the best. Gives them more to work with, as they are gonna get max loss bonus as well, I'm pretty sure. So all in all, it's going to be exactly what they need to get utility on those 2 rifle players, get an AWP out on Maka. But I'm just kind of curious what play do they want to go for. Do they want to go for the triple B pressure again? Do they want to do something loose and scrapped? Or do they actually want to play something composed? Because this is your last chance. So you got to go with what you are most comfortable with, what you think your best play is. The thing is, though, I feel like none of their aggression has caught Avangar off at all. In fact, I think it's played right into Avangar's hands. So I feel like they need to kind of slow it down.
Goes back to what Blair was saying on the desk, you know, the 3 reasons why. More structured approach from Avangar. Like, nothing phases them. Yeah. They're in position, they know what's coming up, they're a step ahead. So this round, the round that we really did coin is maybe the last chance for FrenchFrogs. They're going to be congregating at lower tunnels.
And again, it's that triple B setup from Avangar. Like, they've really been fading into this, and they are really comfortable with it. As long as those 2 CT players can hold some portion of A, whether it be long or what have you, and at least play together, the setup can work just fine. And it punishes any mid-play or any type of B split. The only vulnerability really is Cat. But the thing is, you can plan for that. You know that's the case. And so that's why this can be really powerful.
Plus they have James watching it from just next to the car, and he's shown time and time again that he is quite the powerhouse. Currently, busy peeking down long because there was a smoke deployed on Catwalk.
Yep. So it's going to be a full-out Cat cross, and they're going to take the site. But if they can kill Logan at long and then get their rotators in the right positions to retake, they can still get this to map point. And actually, James now gets in position to watch this Cat cross.
Because they've been pretty slow. They're almost playing as if they're fine with a potential retake. 3 players still on B site. James gonna get found by Haji just over the smoke. I thought for a brief moment he was gonna flick across. Sanji caught as he tries to cross to the site. That's gonna be a save. The FrenchFrogs, they have made it count, finally, in a rifle round.
Yeah, it's a good read to go for the Cat cross because you know Avangar's been playing triple B a bit. I did think that James would be a bit more reserved and kind of fade back and just make sure they held long. Because, I mean, if you have an op inside pit, and if you happen to catch the player who's still lurking for FrenchFrogs inside the long tunnel, and you get those 3 CTs rotating, you actually have a pretty decent crack at making a retake work. I mean, yeah, everyone's going to be on Cat, but if you layer your utility right, you can get yourself onto the site and make a play of it. But James thought of something different. I'm not sure if the smoke he threw on the corner and getting on top of the car, if he thought he would have some type of slight one-way effect where he'd be able to pull off a kill and get away. But whatever that was, it just didn't work and leads the FrenchFrogs taking a much-needed victory to hang around in this game. And they are certainly not out of the woods yet, though. They're still well behind. And Avangar still has Bank.
Yeah, certainly still in the thick of it are FrenchFrogs, but they're starting to rummage towards the exit. Avangar going to call a tactical pause, just try and steady the ship somewhat. I mean, in terms of rifle rounds, they've still got to be supremely confident.
Oh, yeah.
It's one slip, it's one hiccup.
All they need is for that triple B setup to work again, for them to be in the right place for another mid-B split or something like that, and that gets them the map point, or play the retake more effectively on A. Maybe Jane thinks a little bit differently about going for an individual play like that again. Not really sure. This time, though, it's going to be a long ace trap, but Maka misses his opportunity. Goes back, though, and Fitch gets caught. I guess Fitch was not expecting Maka to re-peek.
That's a bit of a surprise, because he had the option to jump across once he heard the op shot rain out. But stalled it, got punished, and now long control falls into the hands of FrenchFrogs. That mistake is going to cost Avangar significant map presence.
And that's that pit isolation smoke while I was talking about that FrenchFrogs does have at their disposal. Navi came up with that a long, long time ago, and some teams will bring it out occasionally. Right. It's great effect to them on this round to be able to get Fitch, be able to comfortably take control of long A. Now Avangar have to just focus on holding CT spawn, holding Catwalk, and trying to play for a retake. Quicker pushing for Cat, getting some intel. Jinx is there, but he hasn't been spotted yet. Now he will. He's been dinked as well. Kicker trying to find that kill. He knows that would help out so much, but he just can't happen to find it. Jinx gets away, and now the long A pushes on.
It's coming in fast, but Sanji has the cover of the elevator. You assume that they are going to smoke across, and indeed they do. Plus Molotov, Sanji out of position. They know this stops any players from being boosted over quicker with an Orc. It's going to get 3 in the blink of an eye. And this round slips away from FrenchFrogs. They still have 2 players, but one of them's been cordoned off by James Orp. Maka just making sure that no one's pushing up from CT. So he knows one was last seen on Catwalk. The rest of the team is unknown. Gonna take some advantage. Faking as if he's dropped down. No one's gonna be falling for that from the CTs. Hearing footsteps now. Can't poke up. Back against the wall. Gonna get that first kill for free. But James is quick to bounce back. Avangar, 6 match points.
Really well done there. Kicker just making a really big play. That's the first thing you have to face when you come up ramp, when you have the wall smoked off there, is that one facing. And they just could not trade that efficiently at all. Lots of flashes coming in, though, certainly a part of it. So well done by Kicker, kind of repositioning a new spot for him, the multi-frag from, as he's been really focused on middle and B. So a little bit of an adjustment there from Avangar, has been a great result.
And FrenchFrogs, course correct. Get themselves back into this. It's just David P by himself on Catwalk.
Yeah, he did get control of stairs pretty early, so that gives them more options to work with, gets them more information, gives them that quick ability to transition from mid-B and cat splits. So definitely what you want to be able to find early. Some long aggression, though, from Avangar. Fitch holding a forward position. No one's played this corner yet, so he definitely could catch someone off guard lurking in those shadows. Snake in the grass, perhaps, unless no one comes long.
1 minute to play with. FrenchFrogs eyeing up the very real possibility of defeat. Avangar, as anticipated, going to be walking their way through to the latter stages of DreamHack Tour.
Yeah, it's going to be the cat cross, it looks like. What can Jane do with the op? That's going to be the big telltale sign of how this is going to go.
They have to commit to this. They're all clumped up again. Rotations could be a very real possibility. Flashbang's going to neutralize Jane. There's another one. He has to back away. They're playing for the retake now. It's all about, can they get a kill or two on the retreat off the site. There's only a smoke remaining for FrenchFrogs. They can't flash themselves out to go for these long peaks. But Jamie's going to get bolstered up. Fitch is helping him out now. 2 players coming from the CT side. No one's making a move through Catwalk, which is for the best because Logan and David P are currently there. Maka misses his chance. Kicker and Fitch both going to come good with their orgs, and now Jinx is going to go ahead, put himself into prime position for 2, and it could be more. They're running into his crosshair. Jinx is going to triple up, looking for the quad. 1 bullet remaining, and Jame, the ADR fiend, is able to hold on to his AWP, but the round has slipped through their fingers. FrenchFrogs live to fight 1 more round, potentially.
At the very least. Again, that's just the one gap that Avangar has kind of set up on their CT side. They're aware of it. They know they're going to have to play for retake A sometimes whenever they try to, focus more mid and B. It's just you're really hoping that Jane gets at least 1 before he fades back before the retake. That way you're working retake with an advantage. Then you can start using your utility to come up CT slope and cordon off Cat and start getting your long players forward. Just none of that happened, though. Jane not able to get a kill. Didn't catch anyone at long A either because all 5 players came up Cat. And then on the retake, Jinx just shut it down really, really nicely on the site. Utility didn't quite get them where they needed to be. Kills weren't quite there for Avangar. Luckily for them, they still have way more cracks at this before overtime becomes the future. Take another timeout. They got a couple more remaining as well. Perfect time to take it.
It's a distant landmark at the moment, overtime, but if they take their foot off the gas and lose concentration, it could be hit before they know it. Yep. They're going to be playing this one slowly and not force buying into this round. They've got James Orr. The rest of the players could have bought, but it's only Kicker that joins him. Down to $150. And he is the first player to meet his demise. Fast, long presence show.
Again, that's that scrappy playstyle of FrenchFrogs. You throw an incendiary down, I don't care, I'm running through it, and I'm going for the throat, and he gets the kill. Again, a very big difference in style between these 2 teams, and that round like this makes it very apparent. And it's probably going to work out this time for FrenchFrogs. Good little smoke here on the cross. They should be getting in sight, no problem. Not much to use if you're Avangar to try to bring this thing back.
Boosting up, but it's just the USP. They'd love to have any other pistol right now, but it's still going to get 1 kill. Drops the bomb out. How the hell is Buster still alive?
Keanu Reeves over here, man.
Absolutely ridiculous, but it probably shouldn't make a great deal of difference to FrenchFrogs. They still have the player advantage, the firepower advantage. They don't have the bomb planted just yet, but they've just retrieved the bomb. And they're going for the outright plant. That was a dink onto David P. on
They're so low, man.
Makes you think if Buster had like a 5.7, a P250, he could have just single-handedly won this round. Jane going to be piecing out with his AWP, looking for some exits and not too much else. So FrenchFrogs going to bring the gap down to 4. Avangar going to start to feel it now as well, Dust. They know that they're not too far behind.
That is certainly the case.
I mean, in some ways, this is quite reminiscent of the Ghost match. They seem to have it tied up, neat little ribbon. Ghost started to mount a comeback.
Lost bonus still isn't great either for Avangar, so they still can't really buy too much around the top from Jame. Like, Fitch has some money, Buster has some, but it's still not ideal. So they may have to kind of maybe get some upgraded pistols around the AWP and then go for a full buy next round is probably what's on the table, I would imagine. So this could be another semi-freebie for FrenchFrogs to get it to 12, and then, oh, no, they're actually going to go all out here. They get a FAMAS, they get an MP9. So it's not the most ideal buy, but it's still quite powerful.
Yeah, as a result of James being able to save the 2 consecutive rounds, he actually dropped across the AWP, I believe, to Buster.
They have 2, actually.
Yep.
Interesting. Buster usually is their secondary opera. When they have one, usually plays towards B side. And that's indeed where he's going to be in this round as well. They are going to go for that triple B setup. This is, again, their most comfortable CT setup, the one that they know in and out on how to handle every situation. They have all their protocols down, the flow charts established. But the big thing is, do you get abused catwalk cross again? Can you retake that A bomb site? I mean, that's the big thing you have to worry about. Jane actually this time's going to be facing Cat, hits the shot.
Picking a little bit too early was Logan. Unfortunate, though, Jane was fully flashed. He'll certainly take that turn of fortune. Haji also tagged. Horrific start for FrenchFrogs if they want to keep this comeback rolling. Good news is it would effectively be a 4-on-2 if they were to hit A site. None of those B players have made a move just yet. Jane caught in two minds. Does he extinguish the Molotov or not? Decides better of it. That Molotov still burning away. It's allowing the terrorists to inch step by step closer. 3 players with their crosshairs trained onto the headshot wall. Gonna deliver. And that slow B rotation is now finding it very hard to get back onto A site. Sanji likely will say FrenchFrogs, after losing the first player, win the round.
Yeah, Jane was good for that initial pick, but once he had to fade back towards the A ramp, the utility was just too much for him to deal with. He tried to peek up, but just too many people facing him. Couldn't get a target, and Kickert got riddled fairly useless there when he was holding that position with the MP9. He couldn't really make much happen. So that vulnerability has been exposed time and time again now from Avangar. I mean, again, normally when you play that type of setup, you anticipate the fact that, yeah, they can take Cat, but we just have to be efficient in how we retake, how we rotate. But it really hasn't worked for them. So I'm curious if they're going to come off that at some point. I mean, this next round, they don't have much money. So there probably is just going to be upgraded pistols around an AWP, then full buy next. So this gives a great opportunity for FrenchFrogs to get to 13, start really getting this gap into a dangerous position. And yeah, I really want to see what the adjustment's going to be for the CT side. Do you want to get aggressive on Cat, do a quick Cat, put some CZs up close there, see if you can catch someone, fight for long A control? I'm not really sure what it's going to be, but something has to change.
Twisting the knife are FrenchFrogs because they're now going to aggress on B, which has had so much presence in rounds gone by, but in the present is barren.
Avangar is like, man, you tell me the one time we don't play triple B, they rush that stuff? That's messed up, man.
A little bit salty at it, and it was Kicker who actually went in for an investment down to $1,300 that died again. Sanji, with his AUG, was positioned just outside of B. He's decided to peace out of there. Avangar into yet another save. Kind of lost track of how many saves we've seen here on Dusty. It feels like almost every round.
Yeah, it's gotten to that point where the game's getting close, money's tight. Had to start making those decisions. David P might mop it up, though. Does get one down, but the gun will still get recollected.
And an AK on top of it. That's actually not a great turn of events for FrenchFrogs. It's an AK across. They keep the AUG anyway. That's definitely bolstered their firepower up significantly now. Yeah. Seemed like he wasn't on the same page as the rest of his team. He went off by himself while the rest of the team was playing more cautious.
All right, so what's the play here from Avangar? What CT setup do they want to do? Do they want to focus more on attacking Catwalk? Do they want to fight and control long a little bit better? Does Kicker want to challenge middle maybe a little bit more? Or do they just want to go for the 5-2 triple B and just say, we're confident in this working at some point? It seems like this time Kicker's hanging around mid a little bit more, not devoting himself to B. Funny enough, this looks like it's going to be a B play. They do have Jane back there with the op, though. That is the big adjustment, that an op is playing back B. The one op they have is defending this.
Right, and he still has some support in the form of Buster.
And they did double up on Cat. So again, they did decide to start fighting for that. So this is a cool adjustment, and it definitely could be what they need to win this game.
And it's two-pronged as well. Having catwalk control allows you to peer down into lower tunnels. Fitch going to connect the headshot. No retaliation.
This is looking really good for Avangar. They're in really good positions. They have the man advantage. Still holding control of Cat, still have vision middle, still have the op, or an AUG rather, playing back B platform with utility still layered on it. The one thing that FrenchFrogs have is that David P has been able to start kind of working this long A corner, and now is calling for his team. The problem is, there are players who are waiting for that cross. They have 3 CTs over towards Catwalk to defend an A cross, and actually Kicker's already working over here towards Quad. So they're going to be well positioned for this. They even have incendiaries to throw on the site, or at least Kicker does. So we could really slow down a bomb plant with time already very low.
This is feeling like it could be the beginning of the end. They're now going to telegraph their push with some smokes. Kicker, who picked up 3 from here earlier on, is going to be able to strike again. And Avangar have done it. They weathered the storm. The comeback was a really nice fight, it's got to be said, but it just wasn't enough. Avangar victorious again on Dust 2.
Yeah, that was just a really good adjustment from Avangar on that final round. They doubled up on Catwalk. In fact, at one point had 3 on Cat. They had Jame playing with the 1 op at B. So they just tinkered around with their CT setup and made the right call. Defended that long A cross. I think it was great that Kicker held onto that incendiary for so long, and when it got to the late round, 20-something seconds left, he's able to put it down on the ramp, stop any progression into the site, put himself in an advantageous position, and then shut the thing down. So it got dangerous. Let's be real. Like, you know, things were starting to look like overtime was right around the corner, but I think that Avangar are really good in making the adjustments they needed towards the end to get the victory. Again, a more structured team, a little bit better strategical. FrenchFrogs, again, rely a little bit more on a shock and all style of play, which I feel like Avangar handled so efficiently in the first half. Like, they caught all the CT aggression by the time it got to the last rounds. I mean, they won the last like 7 or 8 in a row, just kind of countering any aggression and playing really smart, methodical T-sides. Really good reactionary CS too. So tip your hat to Avangar. They're heading to the playoffs again. They just won Rio, and now they're in another DreamHack Open playoffs.
They certainly are, and they've looked like the best team, I would say, consecutively throughout this tournament that we've cast and got to see. I think Mousesports had their issues, but Avangar have been pretty strong. That being said, let's head back to the desk and see what the guys have to say about this.
Thank you very much, guys. Lovely to see you. I was really enjoying the Yao sax that accompanied the victory of Avangar in that one. And then as we cut back to the boys on the casting desk, I was really hoping that they were actually playing those instruments, and it turned out they're not that multi-talented, even though they're quite good at this whole CS lark. So let's talk about that matchup then. FrenchFrogs actually giving Avangar a bit of a run for their money. Avangar looked a little bit scared towards the end there, not being able to close it out. But I want to talk about FrenchFrogs on that CT side, because Blair, I believe you pointed out to me that they weren't always defaulting on eco. They were doing some interesting things. They were taking risks with some stacks there.
Yeah, they were, right? Indeed. But like Dust mentioned that, I think wrapped it perfectly, saying how Avangar, they kind of seemed to wake up like halfway through that first half, and they started playing a much more methodical style of T-sided. You know, they have the play style, they have the understanding of how to approach T-sides generally in Counter-Strike. So it didn't look like they were doing that initially. It was kind of like run and gun. But once they got their thing going, I think it was 6 rounds in a row they won at the very end there. The CD side, I mean, we've seen this now 2 games almost in a row where they get to map point of 14 rounds, and it kind of seemed to get a little flat-footed, so to speak, Potter.
Definitely. But I mean, credit to FrenchFrogs. I mean, these guys have come out and they beat G2 in overtime, and they certainly almost had a shot at really challenging Avangar for that overtime. And I gotta say, they really messed with Jame with some uncharacteristic movements and misses from Jame over at that A bomb site, which actually forced Jame to go towards that B. And as Dust mentioned, this adjustment really helped out Avangar, having the 3 riflers at A to stop it, because yeah, FrenchFrogs hit A multiple times, and I have to point out they had one strategy where they kept smoking off the elevator and smoking off the cat railing, and it really didn't give Jame any sort of openings. And when you're only playing 2 defenders on that A side, it gets really tricky, especially if your opera isn't able to pick off the enemies when they're coming in from that long range. So yeah, definitely kudos to FrenchFrogs. They had a really good game plan and they stuck to it, and I'm impressed with how many times they were actually able to brute force their way into that A bomb site.
Well, let's have a chat to Fitch. He is standing by. Hello, Fitch. Congratulations.
Hello, thank you.
You are straight through, in fact, to Sunday, so you must be feeling pretty chuffed with yourself right now.
Yeah,
and I was quite curious, though, because it took you a little while to get that match point, and you had a timeout, just I think a few rounds, I should say, before that actual victory was claimed. What were you discussing then?
Our captain just asked Kicker, yo man, what we're gonna do? So he said, like, let's play default and let's try to like retake them on A side or something else, something like that. So we just played like we usually play. So there's nothing special.
Yeah, I've actually had this question in my mind, and we spoke about it on the desk earlier today as well. So with Sanji getting picked up, right, is he helping Jame with the calling in any way?
Not real, but sometimes yes. When they both playing A side, just 2 of them, like, and Sanji usually like talks to him like, yo, I'm just gonna leave long or stay long, and some stuff like that. But not too much things, because Jame is captain. He know what he want to do, and Sanji is always support him or just cover him or something else.
All right.
It looked like FrenchFrogs knew what Jay wanted to do at times. How did you guys adapt to their game plan?
At the beginning of the match, we made some important mistakes that they was leading us like 6-4 or something, and that was really hard to like come back. And then we just played some like again nothing specially, so we just played some rounds we usually play, and it works. So probably FrenchFrogs just made some mistakes, like I don't know, that was crucial for them, and we just won like the first half like 9-6. And then the city side is always easier probably to play on that too, so this happens.
Fitch, do you like your cheeses?
Jesus?
Because you're in France, you've got the day off.
I'm a Muslim, sorry, so.
Oh, apologies, apologies.
I mean, like, okay.
So are you fasting at the moment?
What?
Are you fasting at the moment? Fasting, it's Ramadan.
What?
It's Ramadan.
Ramadan? No, it's really, like, for me it's hard because I got some, like, healthy issues, you know, like,
okay.
So.
Well, I apologize for asking you about cheese, but I do want to say
it's not a big thing. Right? It's not a big thing. It's okay because I look like Asian, you know.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Fitch. You're always the person that has to succumb to my questions, so I apologize.
No worries.
For that.
Come on.
But we will let you go. Have a fantastic day off. Get some practice in with the guys and pass on our congrats. Because we need to wrap this thing up. So we'll see you very soon, Fitch.
Congrats, man.
There we go. I've learnt my lesson.
Don't ask about cheese.
Don't get cheesy on the desk.
Don't get cheesy on the desk, Frankie.
But if anyone does want to bring me some chèvre, that's my favorite. That's all I'm saying. It's my favorite kind of cheese. But again, let's move on. So champagne, anyone? Yeah?
Yeah, I don't mind.
I've just been told by producer Dagny, she says not yet. I don't deserve it after that interview. Let's be quite honest now. We've obviously discussed that first half. The T side, though, there's still vulnerabilities in Avangar's T side.
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, I really like the way they woke up and they slowed things down, managed to make it work. I'm going to talk about the CD side a little bit. We saw Fitch just say that, you know, CD's easier, and yes, Dust 2 is a map where your CD side, if you have it really solidified, it can work out. The thing is, I didn't really see much adaptation from Avangar on that A-side setup primarily. It's like they rely, like you mentioned, Potter, they rely on James hitting those shots when they're crossing on over, right? So many times I've seen them getting abused there, and that's also allowed FrenchFrogs to kind of mount the comeback, the mini comeback, so to speak, right into that game. And that's worrying me, because if they continue to play Dust 2 in some of the best of threes coming up on Sunday, and if they continue the same setup that they've been using for a long time, a better team, if they face off against Mousebots, they're going to get abused there time and time again. So I want to see a little bit more variety and variation in the way they're handling the CD side. T side, yeah, as long as they do what they did today, I think they should be fine.
I have to agree with you, Bled, but I gotta say, I respect the confidence in Avangar to only remain with the two defenders at A, but perhaps maybe in the next game, they'll be able to adjust a little bit sooner, because the adjustment was made, it was just in the last 2 rounds of the half, and so it doesn't allow you very much wiggle room to make any more future adjustments, and so, yeah, definitely don't tunnel vision, don't play 2A, adjustments if necessary, for sure.
Well, we are ready to check out our top 5 highlights from today's matches, and a little bit of trivia for you guys to kick things off. They're all on Dust 2. Number 5 here, Avangar versus Ghost.
I really want to see Carrigan's miss as one of the highlights, because I think that was definitely a highlight. Unfortunate for him getting CS:GO'd. But James, I mean, this is a position he loves playing, and he loves landing the shots.
Yeah, and you know, we're seeing so much success from James here because there's no smoke, there's no flash, and FrenchFrogs did a really good job isolating James and not giving him these sorts of opportunities.
This has actually been more impressive. Walksick with that scout.
Sick.
Even though they lost the map pretty convincingly, it's such a joy watching him AWP or scout or anything on Dust 2.
Definitely, it's such a highlight play. Just that angle is so hard to hit, Bled.
Tell me about it. I'm so terrible at it. And of course, we do have some AUG action. And this is the thing with the AUG, right? Like, when it comes to certain maps like Train and Dust 2, when you might have to go for longer range deals and you don't have the money for the AWP, the AUG comes in so very handy. And that's why I feel it's been kind of a meta changer.
And really good also to see Otto coming out on their second map of the day. And now we're on to Mousebots versus Valiance. Yet again, it's Chris J.
Chris J is such a jack of all trades, right? I mean, it's such a pleasure to have and a blessing to have a player like Chris J on your team who's able to do a little bit of everything and so proficiently as well.
Seems like such a happy guy as well. Love to have him. And number one, I'd be really disappointed if it's not carry against Smith.
You're going to be disappointed, but you shouldn't be. Exactly.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, this was a really nice round from Steel, and I think this kind of woke up Ghost. I think it was like 12-2 or 13-2 in that half, and then Steel getting this ace, it kind of mounted the comeback. It was not to be at the very end, but the fact that they put up a fight, despite the fact that Freak's not playing, Freak's not playing, and have James as a stand-in, I think it would give them a little bit of confidence, and I think that moment, that ace, was the moment where it kind of clicked a bit for Ghost.
Well, we kick off the best of threes tomorrow, so we're pretty much guaranteed to see more than just Dust 2. Hello. More than just Dust 2 in our top 5 plays of the day. We've had 6 matches today, guys. We've got through it together. Well, you've got me through it, so thank you very much. Now, I need to say thank you very much to our sponsors, Corsair, Monster Energy, and also Esports Management. Thank you so much for supporting us, guys, because we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much for your help getting us here, and we are going to return tomorrow. We start off our best of threes. We've got 2 best of threes where we're going to see teams fighting for survival. First up, it's going to be Instinct versus Windigo. So that'll be from 9:40 a.m. Central European time. So please do join us then. But for now, all I can say is bonsoir et à bientôt.
Bye.